All right, guys. In the second episode, for whatever reason, there's a couple clips missing. We're not sure exactly what happened, but I guess it happens. But they're important clips, so I want to get them in. And I want to clear up some questions for you. One of the things in the video, it goes from me saying we're going to cut some dados to I'm cutting the middle dado. Well, everything in the middle before that kind of got lost. And what that was me showing you to use an auxiliary fence with your dado blade so you don't get it into your fence. Okay, when you're cutting the tops of the bottom case and the top of the upper case, because you want to be able to run that blade right at the edge of this fence. Okay, don't let it get against your regular fence. So use an auxiliary. And I'm going to show you why. Because if you don't, or you let somebody who don't know about that do it, this is what happens. You chew up your fence. Now, here's a question I've gotten. The question is that when I put this on as my straight edge, where the fence should set on the blade. The fence sets right dead at the edge. Let me turn this around. Let me remove this splitter. What you're doing is you're making this cut a flush trim. Exactly what you're doing. So what you want is you want this blade right here to be dead flush on the outside of the tooth to the outer edge of your blade, right there. You want it to be dead flush. That way when you go through, it's cutting it's cutting it flush with your pattern. See there? Now you can do it a couple ways. You can put a straight edge on it, across it, or you can take a square and set up next to it. You just want to make sure that the furthest outside tooth of the blade is flush with the edge of the jig. Pretty simple, actually. Okay, then we had one other thing we missed, and that was cutting the corners. So y'all supposed to be here watching that stuff, and you didn't do it. If you noticed in the video, we went from cutting, I made reference that we were going to cut the corners. And when we came back, we were cutting the back. The corners got omitted. And that's cutting this on a 45. That's not hard to do. Let me get some junk moved and I'll show you. Okay, to cut the corners is very one of the things we want to do is we want to make sure that all of our shelves are equal. And yes, you can go to your chop saw and set it up and just start nipping the corners off. The way I do it that ensures that I'm always consistent in each and every corner is by indexing off of the 45-degree side. 145 will create the other one. Watch what happens. Now remember, this area in here is 3 inches, so just simply adjust your fence, and you've got your mark here for the 3 inches. Here we go. and we have our shelf corners. Pretty much that simple. So don't complicate it, okay? That works nice. That makes a whole lot easier than trying to set it up. And you know, if you're doing it, you set your stops on your chop saw and whatever. This way, it's always constant, and every shelf will come out right where you want it. Okay. Okay. Now the other thing I wanted to show you is I want to show you a little trick. When you're pushing a dado through, as you watch, I've got my hand here away from the dado. Now I realize this is a saw blade, so we're pretending it's a dado. I've got my hand here. The pressure from this hand is pushing in this direction. I'm pushing into the fence. This hand is pushing forward, but it's also pushing that direction. All my energy is going this way to hold this tight to the fence as well as down tight. That's the way that works. Now, sometimes when you're sitting here and you're trying to line it up and you have a wide panel and you're trying to look over and see if you're lined up. One of the things you're going to notice in the video is that in some cases I would put the panel back here, line it up, then bring it back and run it. That works. But here's another little trick. Mirror, simply put. And I'll sometimes set a mirror up here so that I can then, I can see when my blade is lined up, particularly if I'm with a wide panel and I'm trying to get the fence set, I can look in the mirror and see when my blade is lined up with my mark. Works pretty neat. I don't want a whole lot of that. All right, guys. See you next week.